You call it a historic day. The president said there were some significant changes made to the South Korean trade agreement from the original one in 2012. What are some of the biggies? Is it really significant change?
It certainly is. Top line here, I think it's a very bullish signal to the markets for certain industrial sectors, but also more broadly for the validation of the Trump trade strategy. Basically, you'll see more cars, more ag, more pharma coming from the U.S. soil going over to South Korea. This is a kind of a special deal for me in the sense of I go back during the campaign to the president's job speech, June of 2016, where he promised to do exactly what he did today, which was take that 2012 South Korean deal, which he rated rightly as one of the worst that we'd ever signed, and fix it. And I think what Americans love about this president is he keeps his promises. So check another box there. I think it signals that the Trump trade strategy is working as well. I think there's going to be more deals to come in the coming weeks and months. It's all good from our end. A good day for America, a good day for South Korea.
Do you admit, Mr. Navarro, that this is much less important than the countries like Canada, regions like the EU, China?
No, I don't see it that way. I mean, South Korea is a key ally economically and geopolitically, and it's important both for stability on the peninsula as well as our economic relationships in Asia to have deals which basically set the standard for fair and reciprocal trade, unlike the flawed Trans-Pacific Partnership which President Trump got out of virtually on the first working day in office. So I think what we need to do is look at all the different buckets of trade issues that we're working with. The common denominator of those buckets is our allies and partners and strategic rivals like China are ripping us off and the American worker off. And the president is going through these areas, whether it's Mexico, Canada, Japan, China, and so on, and Europe. And basically calling them to account and getting to the bargaining table and getting a better result for the American people. And that's a good deal. It's also a bullish for the economy. I've said for many years now that structurally the global economy cannot endure unfair trade, currency misalignments, and all the things that contribute to a zero-sum game instead of a positive-sum game in trade for the world. So this is great leadership from President Donald J. Trump, and good for him, good for America.
We definitely want to ask you about China, but first, the South Korean trade agreement was actually the source of some controversy lately because in Bob Woodward's new book, Fear, he described a scenario where President Trump was about to sign us out of the South Korean trade agreement, and Gary Cohn, according to Bob Woodward, said, "I stole it off his desk." He later told an associate, "I wouldn't let him see it. He's never going to see that document. Got to protect the country." Should we thank Gary Cohn, Peter Navarro, for what we saw today, the trade deal with South Korea?
Yeah, Gary, Gary's in the private sector now, and I'm sure he's happier there than he was in the White House. I think the Woodward book speaks for itself. I appear in it, and I can tell you that there's a lot of fiction rather than fact in it, and we'll leave it at that. I think that the people who deserve credit for this today are two people, really. That's President Donald J. Trump and Ambassador Robert E. Lighthizer. They basically got this done. It was the vision of Donald J. Trump, and Lighthizer was the tip of the spear. But long before Gary Cohn was ever in this administration back in 2016 in Pennsylvania, President Donald J. Trump promised he would do this, and guess what? He did it.